Okay, Google I/O. Who's excited about Google I/O? Woo! Who's actually going? Okay, only a few of us. One thing I must say, I slogged away for 5 years before I actually got a ticket to Google I/O, so don't feel bad if you haven't actually yet got a ticket. Okay, and that's actually what it looks like, and Katie could verify she was there last year, so that's kind of what the keynote looks like.
There in the summer.
Where are you?
I'm in the summer.
Over there in the summer. Okay, cool. That's from last year. And who am I and why am I actually giving this talk? Well, one, I won a ticket, so I'm going. So I've been scrounging through the schedule, trying to figure out, okay, what the hell sessions am I going to go to? So much great Google tech. What do I actually want to see live versus what can I watch on either the live stream or a video later? So that's why I'm giving the talk. So I thought, I may as well kind of educate you guys about what I found out and the rumors and what's going on sort of across Google everything. Couple of provisos though. What is this talk? This talk is a warm-up. This is to get you thinking about the tech and what's coming up and get really excited, because I know for me this is like Google Christmas in the middle of the year. It's fantastic. I love this time of the year. It's based on the schedule, me scrounging the schedule for like hours and hours on end. Rumors, press leaks, all that sort of stuff. There's also some educated guesses in there, but the good thing is, in just a few weeks, I'll know if my guesses are right or wrong. So I won't be wrong for very long, which is kind of cool, which makes this talk really kind of straightforward for me. And the other thing is there are some surprises when the keynote's given. So the keynote will be given and the schedule will be updated. And so there's a lot of secret stuff that doesn't get talked about in the schedule until it's announced at the keynote, because its very presence or very mention gives stuff away. So there'll definitely be surprises that me or the press don't know anything about. The other thing too to know about Google I/O too, I've watched it often with Dan at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning, watching the keynote live, trying to figure out what's going on and what's coming out and how it's going to affect our consultancy in the past. I've been doing that, and I took a lot of screenshots, don't forget that, Dan. But the sessions at Google I/O tend to fall into one of two buckets. They tend to be new products or features, which is great, exciting new stuff. I love new stuff, yeah, it's great. But there's also a lot of best practices. So Google knows that you guys are devs, you're busy, you can't look at everything through the year, so there's often a lot of sessions that are a recap of best practices or stuff that's been announced during the year. So bear in mind, sessions fall into one of those two camps, and often the more exciting stuff is the new stuff, and you'll see as we go through, there's a lot of stuff that is probably going to be best practice and stuff you may already know about. These are the categories at Google I/O this year. Some of those kind of aren't that interesting. These are the ones we'll try and focus on because I've got 10 minutes, but that's probably going to be very, very tight, so we'll try to focus on those. Okay, bear in mind, keynotes. Okay, now, diehard fans, if you're a diehard dev, you'll be up at 3 a.m. watching the keynote live. But for those of you who don't want to do that, notice this year there are two keynotes. There is the keynote, non-technical I assume, and then there's the developer keynote, which is 5:45 a.m. Melbourne time. That's doable for you guys. You can wake up early, you can do that. So yes, feel guilty if you're not getting up to watch the developer keynote live. The other thing to bear in mind too, Google's flagged 9 other sessions that are flagged as keynotes this year, which is interesting. What does that mean? I have no idea. I've looked and no one really knows. Just there's some sessions that are flagged as keynotes. Just a quick note, obviously about Android, a lot of Android devs here. This is our timeline. We'd be expecting Developer Preview 2 at Google I/O, or just before or just after. So everyone should expect that. And of course, the final DP5, probably around the Pixel 3 devices around October 4, which is when the Pixel 3 came out last year and the year before. So that's kind of that. What the hell it's going to be called, what P stands for, who the hell knows. I watched a few years ago, and they used to have the gardening guy's blog, the guy who actually put the Android statue on the lawn the day of Google I/O, and he, in years gone past, he disseminated misinformation. So he led you down the path to think it was going to be called one thing, end up being called something totally different. So what it's going to be called, who knows? There's a lot of Android in this year's schedule. Like, I was going through it again today just in preparation for this talk, and there's like session after session after session. Oh my God, there's so many sessions. There's no way I can cover it in this 10 minutes, but know that there's about 58 proper core sessions. but that covers everything from Google Play, Android Things, Auto, Android TV, Wear OS, the whole kit and caboodle, and Google Play. Some you must watch these. So once Google O is over, if you're going to go to videos on YouTube first, go to the What's New in Android and the Fireside Chat, beginning and end basically of Google I/O. Notice those times too. You can still make those times live as well. It's doable. Watch them live. They're good. Okay, now I know there's a lot of text here, but a couple of the big things or the areas, I've tried to group some of the presentations into chunks. There's a lot of stuff around Android architecture components. They're just sort of the top 4 type sessions. There's also a lot of best practices. So this stuff on the right, these tend to be the sessions that are all about maintaining Android, updating Android, best practices, but a lot of maintenance. And a lot of these sessions as well are already waitlisted. So when you go into the schedule and you actually have a look at these sessions, they've got a little hourglass saying that, sorry, all the reservations are gone, so you probably can't get into these sessions. So these are the ones that are really, really popular. Notice we've got Android Vitals, how Android renders, pro tips, frictionless Android, memory usage, backbone processing, ProGuard. I mean, these are all the staples of Android development. And these sessions as well are also some of the intermediate and advanced Android sessions. So these are the ones that are really, really, really popular. So if you're going to go and watch the YouTube videos afterwards, these are probably the ones you actually want to hit. There's a whole bunch of other new stuff. And again, big wall of text, apologise for that. There's a lot around the support library, pretty straightforward and happens every year. Android accessibility, yep, happens every year. Android runtime is probably just going to be art optimizations as per normal. Sound. And this is just a gut feel, this is not in the slides. I have a sneaking suspicion that sound will be a big focus for Pixel 3 and going forward. So watch out for sound stuff. There's a sound, whatever the hell dynamic processing effects actually is. The other thing you'll find, little clues in all the schedule as well. There's a whole bunch of mention of new features as you go through all the descriptions, which takes a really, really long time, but it's really interesting. So there's something new coming there, Android security, and of course some stuff for Chrome OS. Best practices is interesting. 1 meter location accuracy from Android, even indoors. That's fascinating, although that turns out to be not that popular a session, which is kind of surprised me. Another thing too, modern Android development. I think this is, as it says there, getting developers to try to figure out whether you use existing APIs or new features or what do you use. I think this is probably a push by Google to try and give you guys an idea of the best practices. Like there's been lots of Android versions, there's been lots of history, we're up to O, there's a lot of stuff there, but I think this is trying to cut through to, guys, if you're going to do an Android app, kind of do it this way. These are the latest patterns, these are the latest things to do. There's a little bit on Android Go, which came out with Oreo, so there's, how to customize devices with Android Go on it. And there's some interesting stuff around Google search, so probably some Android instant app stuff popping up there as well. Tooling, which is what you guys really, really care about. There's a little bit about Bazel. I didn't know much about Bazel, except that it's an open source build system, and there's only a little bit of that. But obviously Android Studio is every Android dev's stock in trade. There's a couple of great sessions. What's new in Android development tools? Although, I'll give you some warning there, the word recent is in that description. I suspect that's just a review of all the stuff that's happened in Android Studio up to 3.1 in the last year. So, I suspect that's a bit of a red herring. Or it's going to be a little bit, yeah, whatever. Android, what's new in Android build system? Again, it's inside Android Studio. But this one caught my attention. What's new with constraint layout and Android Studio design tools? Partly because of those highlighted sections in red, but also Android Studio design tools. Everyone's probably going, what Android Studio design tools? Apart from layout editor and, there's not much in there, right? So I suspect there's something big coming, and we'll get to material design shortly, but there's something big coming in Android Studio around design tools. And I think I know what it is, but we'll get there. Kotlin, yeah, still first class citizen. There's a few sessions. not a lot to talk about there. I don't use Kotlin myself personally, but there's some stuff coming up there, but it doesn't seem to be a huge part of Google I/O sessions. Google Play, oh my God. In previous years, Google Play was a whole separate category, but there's a lot of stuff here. Like, I'm always excited because I'm a product manager, so I'm always interested about Google Play and what tools have I got to now deploy Android apps in a better way. How can I automate it? How can I do more DevOps stuff? But there's a lot of stuff coming here. Just look at those little descriptions in red. First one's about subscriptions, new tools in the Play console, new Google Play reporting and benchmarking, latest innovation in Google Play app discovery, latest changes in release tool for Google Play console. There's a lot coming here. And this one, automated and customized pre-launch testing in Google Play console. And that session particularly has a Firebase tag on it. They don't mention Firebase in the description, but it's got a tag on it. So something Firebase is going on there. So look out for Google Play stuff. It's going to be, I think, quite a big part of I/O this year. This is a mock-up by, I think, Android Police. I'm not sure where I got these mock-ups. I should have probably cited the source. Material Design 2. This is a bit of a kind of rumor. It may not be called Material Design 2. It could just be a refresh of Material Design. Now, they refresh Material Design all the time. If you go to the spec site, you'll see every couple of months they update it, they put something new in. But it seems like there's a bit of a watershed, you know, a lot more rounded corners, different colors, all that sort of stuff. So look out for some more material design stuff. And there are a few clues in the schedule and a lot of rumors kicking around on the net. So if you Google Material Design 2, you'll see there's a lot of stuff. Notice here it talks about new expressive adaptability, Material Design's new tools. Well, what new tools? Latest evolution of Material Design, latest Material Design tools and components. So I'm flagging this as a probability high that there'll be some sort of watershed moment. And that's, by the way, the current tools for Material Design. This one's been deprecated, and a lot of them are pretty lame, to be honest. So I think something's coming. And more specifically on the Android tools side, I think it's going to be built into Android Studio. So there's a few things here in one of the descriptions that mentions Android Studio design tools again. So be aware something's coming. Android Wear. Who's got an Android Wear watch? Yeah, you'd know what I'm talking about. Android Wear 3, maybe, hopefully, praying for it. Who's praying for it? Sorry, but I don't think it's highly likely. I think it's a bridge too far. It's probably not fair. It's probably 50-50, but I think it's a little way off yet. Another interesting thing is, remember this thing? Smart displays announced at CES 2018. They're an Android Things Google Home, basically. So it's a speaker and a display running Android Things. There's a lot of stuff coming in Android Things. Suspect Android Things is currently on Developer Preview 8. I suspect version 1 will go live at Google I/O. 1, because that's a Lenovo smart display. That's due out early summer US time. For them to get that out, they need to release Android Things version 1. So I think that framework will go from Developer Preview to version 1. Android Auto. Bradbury knows I've been following this for a long time. Yeah, I'm going to give it up. Nothing to really announce here. They just did Android Auto Wi-Fi is just rolling out. It's on a slow burn. Not sure much is going to happen. Google Assistant. Google Assistant SDK is also on a developer preview. I suspect version 1 will actually pop out at Google I/O as well. And the Google Assistant SDK is all about embedding in Android Things and smart devices some better Google Assistant functionality. There's a remote possibility, and I put high here, but that's probably a bit not quite right. Being able to user-define a hot word instead of Hey Google and OK Google, I suspect that might be coming out at Google I/O, but high is probably a bit generous. It probably should have been a medium. Android TV. If you follow Android TV, I've got a Shield TV. I know. I love it. Absolutely love it. Not much to know there. Again, that's on a slow burn. Oh, this thing popped out. If you're going to Google I/O and you hope to get one of these, a lot of reading. It's not made by Google, and I don't think you want it. The quality of the device just doesn't look like it's quite there. It might be the giveaway at Google I/O. It might not. It could just be a third-party device. This is a picture that came through as this device went through the FCC in America. So see what happens. Just quickly, because I know we're running out of time. Flutter, personal cross-platform development library. for iOS and Android apps. It's too early for it to be version 1. Suspect highly that perhaps a beta 3 will get announced at Google I/O, maybe with some new components that do material design. Firebase. Ugh. There's some sessions here you kind of read about, but Firebase is a bit like Google Cloud. They're kind of got a lot of sessions, but a lot of it is basic stuff we already know, how to do things, best practices, stuff like that. So probably not a lot to see there. Google Cloud messaging has been deprecated, as we know. They've already announced that. So there's a lot of that promoting best practices that have come out during the year. Same with GCP. Apart from some stuff on Cloud IoT Core, so if you're doing a lot of IoT stuff, Cloud IoT Core's looking pretty popular, but Cloud as well seems to be a bit of a, talking about stuff they've already released. Nearly finished. AI and machine learning. Ooh, new versions of Vision and VoiceKit from AIY. They could be a giveaway too. I'm actually kind of hoping for one of those. AI and machine learning, there's some great sessions, but 18 sessions there, so I didn't go through them all. There's a lot of sessions. So if you're into AI and machine learning, have a really good look at those sessions, because, mate, a lot of it went over my head. I'm like, wow, there's a lot here. Last thing, AR and VR, again, a bit light. There's a few sessions, but nothing particularly great. There's going to be something in what's new in AR, but it looks like a little bit more of a demo than much else, so we'll have to see how that goes. And I wouldn't be able to do this presentation without talking about the web. Web's a little bit as well. Web State of the Union, which is always a great talk. They do that almost every year. But it's WebAssembly, accelerated mobile pages, headless Chrome, payments, progressive web apps. Oh, and the .app domain. Remember Google bought this quite a long time ago? That's going to be big because there's a couple of sessions dedicated to that. So look out for this session here introducing .app domains. Don't know what they're going to use it for, but it'll be interesting. And of course, Polymer 3 is probably going to get announced as well. And that's it, guys. Thanks.
Big round of applause.